The bombshell that is about to rock the SisterWives universe to its very core is not something you'll see on television. This is a story the network, the family, and their high-priced lawyers have been desperately trying to keep under wraps. We are talking about a scandal so profound, so calculated, that it rewrites everything we thought we knew about the Brown family's finances and the true nature of Kody and Robyn's relationship. Today, we expose the tapes. The secret recordings that allegedly buried Kody and Robyn Brown in a court of law, revealing what our sources are calling a $1 million cover-up. This isn't just about hurt feelings or spiritual divorce. This is about cold, hard cash and a level of deception that a judge has now officially labeled as fraud. Before we dive into the explosive details, the leaked transcripts, and the financial documents that brought this all to light, I need you to do me a huge favor. If you want to stay ahead of the curve and get the real stories that the mainstream channels won't touch, hit that like button right now and make sure you are subscribed to SisterWives crew with all notifications turned on. You are not going to want to miss a single update on this developing story because what we're about to reveal is just the beginning. For years, the central pillar of the Brown family's narrative, the very foundation upon which their polygamous experiment was sold to the world, was the principle of one family. This meant one family, one set of finances. They called it the family pot. It was a concept Kody Brown spoke of with almost religious reverence. Every dollar earned, whether from Christine's online sales, JANELLE'S real estate ventures, Mary's bed and breakfast, or the massive television contract itself, was supposed to flow into this communal account. From this pot, mortgages were paid, children were fed, and futures were theoretically secured. It was the financial manifestation of their spiritual union. The idea was that no matter who earned what, everyone was taken care of. Everyone was equal. Everyone was family. But according to explosive reports from insiders close to the recent legal proceedings, that entire concept was a carefully constructed lie, a lie that began to unravel the moment Christine packed her bags, and a lie that has now, allegedly, been laid bare for a judge to see. The story begins not in a courtroom, but in the quiet, tense rooms of the Flagstaff homes as the family structure began to crumble. Our sources, who have requested strict anonymity due to the sensitive nature of the information, claim that as Kody saw his control over Christine, Janelle, and Mary slipping away, a quiet panic set in. But it wasn't just an emotional panic, it was a financial one. He and his favored wife, Robyn, allegedly saw the writing on the wall. The family pot, once a symbol of unity, was about to become a source of contention. With 3 wives on the brink of departure, the question of how to divide over decades of accumulated assets became paramount. And this, according to the evidence presented in a sealed civil case, is where the conspiracy began. The legal action, we are told, was not a divorce proceeding. You can't divorce women you were never legally married to. Instead, our sources allege that Janelle and Mary, with the quiet backing of Christine, filed a civil suit against Kody and Robyn Brown for breach of fiduciary duty, unjust enrichment, and civil fraud. They argued that for years they had operated as a financial partnership, and that Kody, as the de facto CEO of this partnership, had a legal and ethical obligation to manage the family pot for the benefit of all partners. Their lawsuit claimed that he, in collusion with Robyn, systematically violated that trust by secretly siphoning funds for their own exclusive benefit. The amount in question? A staggering $1 million. Now, how could they possibly prove such a thing? This is where the story takes a turn worthy of a Hollywood thriller. The key, the smoking gun, was a series of audio recordings. We don't know the exact origin of these tapes. Some theories suggest a disgruntled former employee. Others speculate it might have been an older child who grew tired of the injustice, or perhaps even a legally mandated recording from a financial consultation gone wrong. Whatever the source, these tapes were presented as bombshell evidence in court, and we have been provided with what are claimed to be verbatim transcripts. The first tape, allegedly recorded in late, captures a conversation between Kody and Robyn in their Flagstaff home. The context appears to be a discussion about the future of Coyote Pass and the increasing tension with the other wives. The transcript reads as follows. Kody's voice reportedly is low and conspiratorial. Kody, they just don't get it, Robyn. They don't see the big picture. The family is contracting. It's becoming what it was always meant to be. The ones who are loyal. The ones who respect the patriarchy. The ones who are truly committed. That's the real family now, Robyn. I just worry, Kody. I worry about my kids, about our future. If they all leave, what happens to us? What happens to everything we've all worked for? They'll want to take their piece of the pie. Kody. What piece? The pie is the family's, and we are the heart of the family. The rest are. They're becoming independent contractors. That's how I see it. They made their choices. Janelle with her RV, Christine with her betrayal. They can't just walk away and expect a golden parachute funded by my sweat and the show's success. The show is about our family now. It's about you, me, and our children. This is the crucial part. The transcript continues with Kody laying out his plan. Kody, we need to restructure. It's not about hiding money. It's about protecting it. It's about asset protection for the legitimate family unit. We need to move the liquid assets from the family account into something more secure, something under a corporate veil, something in your name, in my name. Dabzark. He was reportedly arrogant, condescending, and evasive. When presented with the audio transcripts, he didn't deny his voice. Instead, he claimed his words were taken out of context. He argued that protecting the family was his sacred duty and that Janelle and Christine's actions constituted a betrayal that necessitated drastic financial measures. He referred to the Dabzark LLC as a lifeboat for the true believers in the family. The opposing counsel's cross-examination was brutal. They played a clip from the show where Kody tearfully proclaimed that he loved all his wives and would do anything for them. Then they played the audio clip where he called them independent contractors who didn't deserve a golden parachute. They asked him to reconcile the two statements. Kody reportedly launched into a rambling monologue about loyalty, biblical principles, and the covenant of their family, all while avoiding the direct question. He accused Janelle of being financially irresponsible for wanting to live in an RV. He accused Mary of abandoning the family for her business in Utah. He tried to portray himself as the victim, a patriarch betrayed by rebellious wives, forced to make tough decisions to save his real family, Robyn and her children. But the judge, a woman named Annabelle Peterson, was having none of it. Our insiders describe her as a sharp, no-nonsense judge who grew visibly more frustrated with Kody's circular logic and self-pitying theatrics with each passing hour. The prosecution's case was built on a mountain of paper, bank statements, LLC filings, credit card bills, and property records. Kody's defense was built on his own sense of patriarchal entitlement. It was a battle between documented facts and self-serving ideology, and the facts were winning. One of the most poignant moments of the trial, we are told, came when Janelle Brown took the stand. She was calm, composed, and spoke with a quiet dignity that stood in stark contrast to Kody's blustering performance. She didn't speak of emotional betrayal, but of financial partnership. She laid out with meticulous detail how she'd contributed financially to the family for nearly 3 decades. She talked about working full-time while raising 6 children. About pooling her paychecks, about making financial sacrifices for the good of the whole. She explained that she trusted Kody to manage their collective funds with integrity. Her lawyer asked her, Mrs. Brown, when you heard the defendant, Mr. Brown, state in a recording that you were an independent contractor who didn't deserve a golden parachute. How did that make you feel after years of contributing to the family pot? Janelle, according to our source, took a deep breath and looked directly at the judge. She didn't look at Kody, she said. It felt like a gut punch. It wasn't about a golden parachute. It was about my life's work. It was about the security for my children. I didn't ask for a handout. I was asking for what was mine, what I had earned. To hear it dismissed so callously. It confirmed that the man I had built a life with saw me not as a partner, but as a disposable asset. Her testimony reportedly hung in the air, a powerful indictment of Kody's entire defense. He had tried to frame this as a battle of loyalty, but Janelle reframed it as a simple case of a business partner stealing from the company coffers. The emotional layer was stripped away, revealing a cold, calculated financial deception. Mary's testimony was shorter but equally impactful. She spoke of the initial dream of the family, the promise of a united front, and how that dream had been slowly eroded, culminating in this ultimate financial betrayal. She provided documentation of the initial seed money for her bed and breakfast, showing how it was intertwined with family funds and how she had diligently paid back every cent, only to discover that the family pot she was paying into was allegedly being drained from the other side. Robyn's turn on the stand was, as many would expect, filled with tears. She portrayed herself as an innocent, caught in the crossfire. She claimed she knew nothing about the specifics of the finances and that she just trusted Kody to lead the family. She said she signed the LLC documents because Kody told her it was to protect the children. Under cross-examination, however, her story began to fall apart. The prosecution presented her with the credit card statements from Dabsark Entertainment LLC. They asked her to explain a dollar charge from a luxury brand store. She claimed it was a business expense. They asked her to explain the down payment on a new luxury SUV. She claimed it was a company car. They then played the audio clip where she herself expressed concern to Kody, asking, "Is that legal, Kody, moving at all?" Her response was that she was just a worried wife and didn't understand complex business things. But the prosecution painted a different picture. They argued she was not a passive victim, but an active and willing co-conspirator. They presented emails between her and Kody discussing which assets to protect first. They showed text messages where she allegedly identified specific accounts that Janelle and Mary had recently contributed to as prime targets for the restructuring the image of the crying, innocent wife was shattered, replaced by the image of a calculating partner who was allegedly in on the scheme from the very beginning. The prosecution argued that her tears were not of sadness for the broken family, but of fear of being caught. As the first part of these proceedings wrapped, the tension in the courtroom was palpable. The evidence was overwhelming. The tapes, the transcripts, the bank statements. They all told a single, cohesive story. A story of a man and his favored wife who, facing the dissolution of their plural family, allegedly decided to take the money and run, hiding it behind a corporate wall built with the names of their own children. It was a story of betrayal that went far beyond the emotional realm and into the criminal. The judge had heard it all, seen it all, and her expression, according to everyone present, was one of grim resolve. The stage was set for a verdict that would not only have massive financial repercussions, but would also serve as the final official judgment on the character of Kody and Robyn Brown. The family pot was empty, and the court was about to decide exactly who had drained it. What was to come next would be the final nail in the coffin of the Brown family patriarch. The final day of the trial dawned with a palpable sense of dread hanging over the Coconino County Courthouse. The air was thick with unspoken accusations and the ghosts of years of shared history. Kody and Robyn Brown arrived looking somber, a stark contrast to their usual television personas. They walked in as a tight, embattled unit, hands clasped, presenting a united front against a world they clearly believed was conspiring against them. Janelle and Mary arrived separately, but their demeanor was one of quiet resolve. They were joined in the public gallery by Christine, who had flown in for the final verdict. She wasn't a plaintiff in the case, but her presence was a powerful symbol of solidarity. She was there to witness the final chapter of the lie she had escaped. The courtroom was called to order. Judge Annabelle Peterson entered, her face an unreadable mask of judicial neutrality. She sat, adjusted her glasses, and looked out over the parties involved. The silence was absolute. For what felt like an eternity, she simply stared at Kody Brown, a long, appraising look that seemed to strip away all his bluster and bravado, leaving only the man beneath. Then she began to speak, her voice clear and cutting, each word meticulously chosen and delivered with the weight of law. This court has heard extensive testimony and reviewed a mountain of evidence in the matter of Brown and Brown versus Brown, she began, her eyes still locked on Kody. The case before us is not one of a simple domestic dispute or a financial disagreement between partners. What has been presented here is a deliberate and methodical narrative of deception, a profound breach of trust, and what this court can only define as a calculated and egregious act of fraud. A collective gasp, though silent, seemed to suck the air out of the room. The word fraud had been spoken from the bench. It was no longer an allegation. It was a judicial finding, the defense has argued. Judge Peterson continued that Mr. Kody Robyn, as the patriarch of his family, held a unique and unquestionable authority over all family finances. His counsel has attempted to frame the family pot as an informal arrangement subject to the whims and executive decisions of its self-appointed CEO. This argument is not only legally specious, but it is an insult to the very concept of partnership. For decades, the plaintiffs, Miss Janelle Brown and Miss Mary Brown, along with Miss Christine Brown, contributed their earnings, their labor, and their faith into a single financial entity. They did so with the explicit understanding that they were co-owners, equal partners in a shared enterprise. To suggest that their contributions entitled them to nothing more than the patriarchal benevolence of Mr. Brown is an argument this court flatly rejects. She then turned her attention to the Dabsark LLC. The creation of the Dabsark Entertainment LLC represents the primary instrument of the fraud perpetrated by the defendants. The court has heard audio evidence, authenticated and undisputed, in which Mr. Brown outlines his intention to restructure the family's assets to protect them. Protect them from whom? From the very people whose labor had generated them. He spoke of his wives, partners of years, as independent contractors who were not entitled to a golden parachute. This was not a restructuring. It was a heist. It was a conscious and deliberate scheme to divert marital partnership assets into a private slush fund controlled exclusively by Mr. Brown and his legal wife, Miss Robyn Brown. Her gaze shifted to Robyn, who immediately began to cry, dabbing her eyes with a tissue. The judge was unmoved. Miss Robyn Brown has portrayed herself as a passive, unknowing participant in the scheme. She has claimed under oath that she simply trusted her husband and did not understand the financial maneuvers he was undertaking. This court finds that testimony to be utterly incredible. The evidence shows Miss Brown was not only aware of the plan, but was an active participant. We have seen the email correspondence. We have heard the audio in which she herself questioned the legality of the transfers. Demonstrating a clear understanding of the questionable nature of their actions, she was a signatory on the corporate documents. She was a beneficiary of the diverted funds, using the Dabsark credit card for extensive personal expenditures. The tears of a distressed wife do not wash away the ink of a co-conspirator's signature. The judge paused, letting the weight of her words settle. Kody's face was turning a deep shade of crimson. Robyn was now openly sobbing. Janelle and Mary remained perfectly still, their eyes fixed on the judge. Let's be clear about what these funds were, the judge stated, her voice rising with indignation.